Okay, so this is a bit of a vulnerable video. Today, I'm going to share with you why the name Rachel Hollis pierces my soul. And that sounds a little bit dramatic for someone who's supposed to not have any feelings. But have you ever had it where someone's presence, whether it's online or in person, just causes you to throw a massive temper tantrum? And this is what this does to me. And I had a really funny conversation with my business partner this past week when we were doing some planning, and Rachel Hollis came up and I threw a temper tantrum, and she said, well, I didn't even know we were allowed to talk about it. So the people around me can't even talk about Rachel Hollis without me having a little temper tantrum. And I think I need to confess to you why, because I have a feeling that for somebody that's watching this video or listening to this podcast, you're going to relate with it. And ultimately the reason is that because she did something that I've had on my list of things to do and I didn't do it. And now she's out there and impacting a lot of people. And if I'm going to be really honest, what it does is it just shines a light on my frustration with myself. And now I want to, of course, give Rachel Hollis so much credit for what she's been able to do. I read her first book, or I listened to it while I was working out. I thought it was funny, simple, encouraging, relatable. She's certainly stepped out into the arena and really worked her tail off to make a name for herself and has set up things that are going to help a lot of people. I heard amazing feedback on her recent conference that she had, and it's awesome. So why is it that someone who's doing such great things, that is aligned with my mission and my purpose to help women rise? I mean, literally her stuff is called Rise, and our name is Emerge, which means to rise up. And even that irritates me. And it's because she's doing a thing that I haven't done, that I've had on my list for a while. And I think what it does is I have these outlines for not a book. I'm not going to say my book is a book is the same as hers, right? I don't want to take any credit away from the hard work that she has done or be arrogant in any way. But I have this outline of like this relatable story-based book on my experience. And it's it's maybe a third baked, maybe a quarter baked. And then, Rachel Hollis comes out with Girl Wash Your Face, and it's a call to arms, right? Like, let's go. And I was like, man, you beat me to it. Of course, it's more complicated than that. But what it does is it exposes how, I am fearful about moving into that space, or I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm not really exactly sure why it does that. I think it's just because it's someone doing a thing that I think I could do if I would do. But the reason I haven't stepped into that space yet is because, I don't have the time, and I made different choices, and my imposter syndrome, this and that. And I think that if I would have spent less time being fearful in running my business, I wouldn't have created so many problems that would have taken so much time to unravel and solve. And then maybe I would have had time to do this thing. And so I don't know if you could relate to this, this temper tantrum. If you do, you're not alone, but I'm tired of feeling this way. I am tired of, I guess, being envious of another successful person. That isn't normally how I operate. And so instead of going into a shame spiral and then being smart enough to know I'm in a shame spiral, so then I have shame about my shame spiral because I know it's petty and immature and unbecoming for a leader, then I put more shame on that. And I enough, right? So I guess my first step here is to confess. I think we all have our demons, and I'm building a business from scratch, just like you are. I've been running my coaching business for 3.5 years. We've been able to do some amazing things, but it doesn't change the fact that I'm human and I get caught up in some compare and despair, just like everybody else. And this is a trigger for me. And so this is how I'm handling it. And if you relate to this, or if you know someone that relates to this, maybe this will be helpful for you. So here are the steps I'm going to need to do. First, I'm going to not throw shame on it. I'm going to acknowledge the emotion is human. Then I'm going to figure out what is the core of what is my actual problem. And I think that I had to take some time to really be curious. If you follow Brene Brown's work, she talks about when you're having, I don't think she calls it a temper tantrum, but when you're kind of going through this, to be curious about it, to actually explore it, to let it be a little bit messy, and get to the core of why are you feeling this way. And then I had to ask myself, is this even the right time? And recently it has been, no, it's not the right time. I have this other thing, like I really need to create a social media course. My audience needs that more than they need me to write a book, and they need me to build a membership site more than they need a book. But so I think I had to actually take a step back, acknowledge my emotions, and then think a little bit more strategically and say, okay, so I'm going to do this thing. Clearly it's on my heart. Is this the right time? And it's been no, 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 no. And now maybe it's much closer to a yes. Get yourself started. And the fourth step is to move imperfectly forward. Because one of the biggest problems that people have in business or in life is that we don't follow our own journey. There's a great quote that I heard when I first started thinking about starting my own business, and I've held on to it, except in this area. Don't compare your beginning with someone else's middle. And I think it's really easy to look at other people's businesses or other people's success or other people's families, and you kind of see a snapshot of where they are today, but you don't see any of the road that's led them there. And then we start to compare things that don't make a lot of sense, right? She can write a book, I can write a book. It should be the same, but not really. Like, I'm only 3 years in on my business, right? Someone like Rachel Hollis has been in business for much, much, much longer than that. Am I even comparing the right thing? That's not really right. And where I fall into the trap is I compare the wrong things. And I think that it's really important that we take a minute, take a step back. Don't compare our beginning to someone else's middle, but don't detach either. Look for clues. Do look for clues of success. So we do want to look to people who are more successful than us for inspiration, right? I want to be able to look at someone like Rachel Hollis and say, wow, she's really getting out there. She's making a difference. There's such a big need. This is showing that I need to keep moving forward. And I can look for clues on how she's been able to have the amount of massive impact, and start one at a time, picking up the clues and examining them and seeing if they're the right time for me. I think that is really, really valuable. But I don't think it's valuable to just do a straight comparison, or to be envious or jealous or frustrated or have shame over these things. I just need to look at this person's life and go, gosh, what of this could I pick up and move forward? And then maybe I can revisit once that thing is done. The definition of emerge, again, is to rise up as if from an inferior and unfortunate position. And that's all we can do when we look at successful people, is look to them as a source of inspiration, of encouragement, pick up their clues, take them and go with them, and then pick up another clue and move another step forward. And so that's what I'm committed to do with this. I hope that if you are or are not, I guess, a Rachel Hollis fan, that you can see that this has nothing to do with someone else. This 100% has to do with me and putting myself in a position to do the things that I know I need to be doing. And I hope this is encouraging to you. I hope this is helpful for you. Again, the 4 steps: acknowledge your emotion. It's human. Figure out what is the core, would be step 2. Number 3, actually ask yourself, is this the right time? or am I trying to make a decision out of fear of missing out or competition? And then number 4, when you decide when the right time is to move forward imperfectly. I hope that helps. Hope you all have a great rest of the day, and I'll talk to you guys soon.